Hello, my dearest friends, how are you? My video today is going to be about the Gothic. There are other videos on Gothic I have made before, but this one is specifically to talk about the term Gothic and where it comes from. And I will give you an example from a text. Gothic. What do you think about when you say the word? Do you think about fear, darkness, entrapment, altered states of mind, terror, horror, blood? What is it? Alright, let's go to the supposed origins of the word. It is apparently an Italian who came up with this term to classify what we nowadays know as Gothic. Giorgio Vasari in the 16th century wrote a piece in which he described the lives and the styles of painters and architects of his period. In this writing he produced, called Le Vite, he talked about the style of his Italian friends with an overbearing stress on the fact that they belonged to the so-called Rinascita, Renaissance, or Renaissance, as we know it nowadays. Of course, he favored the style of Renaissance or Rinascita in the sense that it had some classical characteristics. On opposition to that, as opposed to that, he talked about another style which was more akin to the Goth tribes as Gothic. But for him, Gothic equaled barbarian. So you come to think of it and you say, this classification probably had an influence or a bearing on the literature we read as from the 18th century, which belonged to this genre we call Gothic. It had to do with cathedrals, with stained glass windows, with gargoyles and darkness, winter, entrapment, and also nuns and priests, because the first pieces which were written in this style had to do with that. Now, time went by and the style seemed to be a bit left aside, but then it came up again in the renewal of the Gothic, in the rebirth of the Gothic in the 19th century, and that is the period from which the piece I'm going to read comes from. So, will you bear with me for a moment? My reading specs as usual, and here it is. "Sir," said the butler, turning to a sort of mottled pallor, "that thing was not my master. And there's the truth. My master," here he looked around him and began to whisper, "is a tall, fine build of a man, and this was more of a dwarf." Utterson attempted to protest. "Oh, sir," cried Poole, "do you think I do not know my master after 20 years? Do you think I do not know where his head comes to in the cabinet door? Where I saw him every morning of my life? No, sir, that thing in the mask was never Dr. Jekyll. God knows what it was, but it was never Dr. Jekyll. And it is the belief of my heart that there was murder done." Maybe you recognize the names already? Okay, I'm going to show you. There you go. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Okay, this is 19th century Gothic, and you probably know the story, and if you don't, please read it because you can't not read it. But there you have many of the elements of the Gothic, being entrapment, murder, plotting, mystery, altered states of mind, and, of course, blood. It couldn't be absent. Okay, so you can do more research on the subject and you can watch my videos, as I said before. You can even leave comments on the comment box below. All comments are welcome as long as they are respectful. And hoping to hearing from you and hoping that you have already subscribed and you can hit the bell for notifications. I will be seeing you soon. It has been a pleasure. So, bye-bye.